Hello, I'm Mike, this is Will, we are the Tabletop Donkeys.
Hello.
And we're bringing you issue 45 of Warhammer 40k Conquest today. And in this issue we got a set of 5 Space Marine Scouts. And before we head into the issue, as always, if you want to skip straight to the battle report, you can see the description for a time code. So heading into the issue, we have, of course, some background on the Scouts themselves. So they're a sort of light infantry reconnaissance unit for the Space Marines, but also are the new fresh recruits for each Space Marine chapter. Technically, the Silver Templars are an all-Primaris chapter, but presumably they still use Scouts. Space Marines still start life as a Scout, and then they become a Primaris Marine afterwards. And you can see here the Black Templars have neophytes instead of scouts. They're sort of like squires almost, go into battle with other Space Marines. And the Space Wolves have their own Wolf Scouts. And some description of their war gear here, you see they have sometimes have shotguns or regular bolt guns. And on the other page you can see there's quite a variety. They have knives, shotguns, as I said, sniper rifles. This kit does not come with the sniper rifles, unfortunately. That is the separate kit. And you can see here we have our build guide. This is quite an old kit, probably one of the oldest kits we're going to get with this magazine. And as you can see, as you might notice as well, you probably notice in game, they're quite small compared to Primaris Marines. It is quite odd. It's almost like they're a different scale. And you do get a number of choices for weapons they have, which is important. This is basically the first Space Marine unit that actually has a choice of weapons. So one scout can have a heavy bolter, and then the other scouts can also have either a melee weapon and a pistol, a bolt gun, or an Astartes shotgun. As you can see over here, they've assembled them in a variety of weapon loadouts. I've actually magnetised mine, which did take quite a while, but it does let you get a lot out of these, the most out of these kits. So I get the choice of weapons for each mission, like I did with the Blight Hauler. And you've got our painting guide here. It's fairly standard Ultramarines painting guide. You've painted blue and gold a lot by now if you've been following them. Probably the only major difference is painting their fatigues and their boots. I do quite like the Scouts models, even if they are very old. But they're relatively simple to paint. But yeah, that's it for our painting guides, build guides and the issue, so we'll head into our mission now.
Before we get into our game, we need to learn about war gear options, which is, as it says on the tin, really. Some units can take different war gear options, including the new Scouts that we've just got. A bit like the Plague Burst Crawler we had before, but in this case it's a whole unit of different models who can be outfitted with a variety of options. And it just explains that this here and shows. And then here we have pictures of all the various war gear options that Scouts can take. So by default they come with a bolt gun and bolt pistols as well. They also come with those by default, and it says they do even if they're not visible on the model. These being older models where they're not all of their war gear is always modelled. Then their options they can take, they can swap their bolt guns for shotguns, or Astartes shotguns specifically, which we'll see the rules for in a moment. Combat knives and chainswords are exactly the same rules-wise. The sergeant can take a chainsword, basically. And they can swap their bolt guns for those as well, makes them a bit better in melee at the cost of range firepower. And then the heavy bolter, which is a man-portable heavy weapon, and we don't get... This is our first Space Marine unit where you can actually have one guy armed with a different gun, I think. And then the profile over here for all the Scouts themselves. You can see, first of all, they've only got one wound, so they're not as tough as full Primaris Space Marines. So they'll go down a bit easier, and unlike the Death Guard, they don't have Disgusting Resilient or Toughness 5. And they've only got a 4+ armour save, because they're only in kind of Scout armour, or sort of recon armour, really. Then there's all the profiles here for all their various weapons. The shotgun, you can see, is an assault weapon, and it's higher strength within half range. Bolt pistols and bolt guns, fairly straightforward. The heavy bolter is basically an assault bolter, as the Inceptors have, or actually the other way around, really. The assault bolters are heavy bolter, but sort of sawn off. And the combat knives, doesn't actually mention the chainsword here, that the Scout Sergeant can technically have, but it's exactly the same. You get an extra attack when you're using it. Then they have grenades. Then the usual, and they shall interfere in Codex Discipline, but then the rule unique to Scouts is concealed positions, so they can be set up, when set up in deployment, they can be set up anywhere on the battlefield more than 9 inch from the enemy deployment zone. Actually, you'll notice from this, if you're familiar with the Space Marine Codex, that there are some options here that aren't listed that they can take, like camo cloaks and sniper rifles. That's just because we haven't got the kit for those models yet. We'll do eventually with the magazine, so then it will presumably update this. And here we have the new Scout models, and to show off how we can have different weapon options, these have been fully magnetised. So this guy's got a bolt gun at the moment, but if I take that off there, then we can give him close combat weapon and pistol. There he is. And then likewise this guy here. And likewise, this guy here, you can give him a shotgun as well. Then over here we also have the heavy bolter man, and that can be replaced, but only with melee weapons, because the kit only comes with 4 bolt guns and 4 shotguns for some reason.
You could have the sergeant, give the sergeant the melee weapon and the pistol, and have the rest all bolt guns.
Yeah, that's true. So, and then we're on to our mission. We have our usual fiction here. The scouts are trying to find some computer terminals, extract some data, making sure the Death Guard don't get their hands on it. And you can see on the battlefield they're set up in 5 locations. And basically what happens is the Death Guards start near each of the terminals, 1 unit for each because there's 5 units, and then scouts have to go around and collect all the terminals, and they can do that by moving into base contact with them, at which point they are immediately removed. The victory conditions are very simple. The Space Marines win if they collect 3, Death Guard win if they don't, and obviously if one side is wiped out then that also counts as a victory. It lasts for 5 battle rounds. As I said, the Death Guard deploy 1 unit by each marker, touching the marker, and the Space Marine Scouts deploy with their concealed positions rule. Now, if you're paying attention, you'll notice that the wording of the concealed positions is that they have to deploy 9 inches from the enemy deployment zone, but technically the Death Guard don't have a deployment zone because, so although there are these zones marked on here, it doesn't say how big they are, so we don't really know exactly how far away the Scouts are going to deploy, but what we will do is make sure they deploy more than 9 inches away from any enemy models. So just an oversight there, they didn't think about that.
It is a bit vague.
Yeah. So it's a slightly different mission to what we've had before, but we're going to get on to the army overviews now and then show you the deployment. So here we have our Space Marine forces, and it's our 5 brave new scouts. And we've got the sergeant in the middle there, and the man with heavy bolter, and then the sergeant and the other 4 guys have all got shotguns. That's your choice for the weapon options.
Yeah, so I decided to take shotguns because we're going to have to be fairly mobile, and shotguns are assault weapons, so you can advance and shoot if that will come up. They're within 12 inches, they're exactly the same as bolt guns, but they also get an extra point of strength when they're within 6 inches, which will be relevant against the champion. You don't really have any shooting in this game, so I'm not too worried about cover or anything like that. So.
And here are our Death Guard forces. We've got 4 units of 3 Poxwalkers and the champion in the middle, and it specifically specifies that we want this champion, the one with the Power Fist and the Plague Sword. Probably because the plasma gun would make him really good against the scouts, because they wouldn't get any armor save at all, and so it would be a pretty skewed mission with that. And here's an aerial view of the battlefield with the 5 objectives you can see on your screen. So we've got the one in the middle, which the champion is standing on, and then the one down here, Poxwalkers, 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 and Poxwalkers. And that pretty much forces the scouts to deploy. Will be basically in the corners or in the middle of the board edges. We'll see where Mike wants to put them in a moment. And I should also mention at this point that we have actually got our Hematrit reactor with the magazine now, so this has been painted up to replace the one we were using before. That's the Death Guard forces deployed. Now the scouts get to deploy using their concealed positions rule. And over here we have our brave scouts who have come on in concealed positions. Very concealed over there in their bright yellow armour.
Yeah. I decided to deploy over here because I think we can get to this objective fairly easy. We can charge the Poxwalkers and take that objective and still be out of grenade range from the champion in the middle.
Yes, he's quite a long way away if you start over there. There is enough room for them to be there because the objective is 11 inches away, the Poxwalker's base is 25mm, and the Scout's bases are also 25mm, so there is exactly 9 inches of room to fit in there, very much. And anyway, the Scouts get to go first, so we'll be straight on to Space Marines, turn 1.
Okay. So we're just going to move up our 6 inches, and we're behind the walls, quite well concealed because we're so small. And in the shooting phase, the shotgunners are all going to fire at the Poxwalkers, while the heavy bolter man will shoot at the champion.
Okay, yeah.
So he did move, so he gets the penalty. So shotguns are assault 2, so we've got 8 shots hitting on 3s. 4 hits, wounding on 3s.
Yeah, they're strength 5 at this range, but against Poxwalkers, toughness 3 it doesn't matter.
4 wounds.
All wounded, and no cover. They haven't got 90 armour penetration, but I'm not in cover. So it's just disgustingly resilient. Made 1, but that's 3 Poxwalkers dead. The objective undefended.
And then the heavy bolter man has 3 shots, hitting on 4s because he moved and he has a heavy weapon. He got 1 hit. It's wounding on a 4 because it's strength 5. It's wounded.
It's -1 AP, I'm not in cover, so 4 plus, no that's a 1, and disgustingly resilient. And that's a 6.
Phew.
Well,
few for you.
Yeah, few for me, and it probably makes the mission a little bit more interesting if my champion doesn't die in the first turn, but...
And that'll be my turn because there's nothing to charge, so I'll have to pick up that objective next turn.
Yes, indeed. So that's the final position of the Scouts as we go into Death Guard turn 1. In my movement phase, all my units are going to advance because they're all a long way away. And the champion could technically get his bolt pistol in range, but I don't have great hopes of that doing very much. So we'll start with him. He's going to roll 1 inch. He's actually going to abandon that objective for the moment and run into cover. So if I stay on the objective, then the scouts could actually charge him and potentially pick it up if they kill him. In fact, no, they don't even need to kill him, they just need to touch it, pick it up. So by doing this, try and run away from it. These Poxwalkers down here will advance. 3, it's a little bit better. I roll for the other Poxwalkers as well, so this unit down here on the far right corner will be 4 inches, and the ones over here by the infiltrate reactor roll 5 inches. So the Poxwalkers are closest to the scouts are now closer to the scouts. I'm running across the road down here. The ones who were furthest away from the scouts are now kind of here in the middle of the board, near the champion, heading for the middle objective, and the ones who were over by the hematrex reactor have come all the way around the side of this plasma regulator. But my shooting phase is going to be very short because the champion advanced and nobody else has any guns, and the charge phase will be similar because everyone advanced. So that'll be it for Death Guard turn 1. We'll be on to Space Marines turn 2.
Scouts have moved up a bit. The heavy bolter man's going to stay where he is so he doesn't get the penalty for moving and shooting for this turn. This scout is going to come out over the wall and pick up this objective. It's picked up as soon as he touches it. So he'll pick that up and then he has some little bit of movement left, so he'll scooch over that way a little bit. So like last time, this squad with all the guys with all the shotguns will shoot at that Poxwalker squad.
Yep.
And the heavy bolter man will shoot at the champion.
Yeah, just about
see him.
Yeah, there he is, over there, through the window. You can see the champion all the way over here. Hey.
So we'll start with the shotguns. We're all within 12 inches. So we've got 8 shots hitting on 3s. Yep, 8 shots hitting on 3s. Below average again, couple on scouts.
Yeah.
So we got 4 hits, wounding on 3s, 3 wounds.
Can Poxwalker live? Yes, one Poxwalker is alive. That would be the closest one to the scouts.
The heavy bolter firing at the champion. 3 shots hitting on 3s because he didn't move. 1 hit again. Wounding on 4s. He wounded. He's very consistent.
I'm in cover now at least, so 3 plus armour. Yeah, made it this time.
And then in the charge phase, we will risk charging just to get some extra movement, so we're going to declare a charge on this Poxwalker.
Okay, obviously can't shoot back.
I'll roll 1 and then check the distance. No, double 1, so that's definitely not enough.
We're not going anywhere.
And that's the end of my turn 2. Picked up 1 objective.
Yep, so we'll be on to Death Guard turn 2. Well, we're going to start with poor lone Poxwalker over here. He's not going to charge the scouts because that will just result in his death, most likely either Overwatch or in melee, and he probably won't do anything at all. So I'd be better off keeping him back as a nuisance, so that's what I'm going to do. He's going to advance 3 inches, so he'll get to go 7. So the Poxwalkers move to there behind the ammo boxes, which will give him cover technically if he's shot at from over them. And the champion is tucked in here, where he is invisible to all the scouts at the moment, so he'll at least force them to move, especially that heavy bolter, if they want to shoot him. Both of these Poxwalker squads over here are going to advance against. We'll do the one that's close to the middle objective at the moment. Might roll a 2. And then the ones over here by the plasma regulator. Roll a 2 as well, so that brings the middle squad right up pretty much to the objective, and the ones over on the far side have all got into that area cover over there. In the shooting phase, the champion can't see anything, and all the Poxwalkers advanced, so there won't be any charging. So once again, nothing's going to happen in the Death Guard turn. We'll be on to Space Marines turn 3.
So the scouts have just moved normally. So the 4 shotgunners are all just within range of this Poxwalker squad, and the heavy bolter man can see the champion through the gap in the window of this ruin.
Yep. Yeah, there he is, just about, something like that. You can't quite, the focus doesn't really work, but there he is.
So we've got 8 shotgun shots hitting on 3s. We've got 8 shots hitting on 3s. Oh, we got 5 hits. We're improving. And wounding on 3s. 3 wounds.
Disgustingly resilient. Make 1 again, so 2 more Poxwalkers go down.
And the heavy bolter.
Champion.
3 shots hitting on 4s because we moved. 1 hit again. He's very below average. Wounding on a 4. Ooh, no. And I'm going to declare a charge on this Poxwalker. Charge distance is 4.
That is the minimum necessary.
It's the bare minimum.
They finish their charge move like that.
So now they get to pile in, which I think we'll just try and get everyone in because we don't have many attacks, unfortunately. So we charge, so we get to attack first. So the scouts have 6 attacks.
Yes, unlike Primera Space Marines, they only have 1 attack each, but the sergeant has 2.
And they're wounding, hitting on 3s. Blimey, they haven't rolled well. 3 hits, wounding on 3s. Well, 1 wound at least.
Wow, okay, so disgustingly resilient. Yep, I made it.
Yep.
So the Poxwalker lives, but you can... Oh no, you can't now, because
you can't consolidate because he didn't die.
So you could consolidate closer to the Poxwalker, but... the scout's just going to consolidate 1 man in to keep the Poxwalker in base contact, stop him moving. And the Poxwalker has 2 attacks, hitting on 5s. No. So that's the end of Space Marine's turn 3, on to Death Guard turn 3, where the Death Guard might actually do something. So in my movement phase, the champion has moved up nice and close, and this Poxwalker over here, the remaining one, has come there, and the one who was in melee is still in melee. And the ones who are a really long way away are going to advance 1 inch. So they're doing their best attempt to run as fast as possible towards the objective, and they're not being particularly successful at it with only 5 inches. In the shooting phase, the champion can't shoot the scouts because they're engaged in melee, so in the charge phase, the champion will charge. I'm not going to bother rolling it because all I want to do is get him there, so he's within an inch of that guy. That's less than 2 inches, so I don't bother rolling. And then this Poxwalker over here, if he rolls a double 1, won't be in, so I better do it. He rolled a 5, which is enough. We'll just bring him round there like that. And then we'll do the champion first. He's going to pile in like so to get both of those scouts in base contact so that they can't pile in towards this objective. Then I hit them with the Power Fist because it's better than the Plague Sword even against 1 wound models with poor armour save. So on 4s, that's 2 hits. Wounding on 2s. 2
dead scouts.
Yeah, because -3 AP means that their 4+ save
Take
is
those
irrelevant.
2 away.
Yeah, that actually brings this Poxwalker out of combat, so he won't get to strike, but this other guy also charged, so he'll pile into Sarge. He's got 2 attacks on 5s, 1 hit, wounding on 5. Oh, it did. You got 4+ armour.
4+. Nope.
No? Oh, so it's not. And then it actually gives me a Poxwalker back, who will appear there, like that. And then the scouts get to hit back.
We're going to attack the Poxwalkers.
Okay.
3 attacks hitting on 3s, 2 hits, wounding on 3s, 1 wound.
You killed one, so take away the one who just came back. And the scouts don't have to take a morale test because they're leadership 9 on the sergeant, thanks to being Ultramarine successors. So that'll be it for Death Guard turn 3, and we'll be on to Space Marines turn 4.
So what we're going to do is we're going to fall back from melee. We're going to pick up this objective during the move, because we can do that. So we've got 2 objectives now. Then we're going to have to come this way so that we're closer to this objective next turn.
Yeah, and then hope that you still have someone left who can make an advance move.
Yeah, we're going to shoot at the champion.
Okay, yeah, because Codex Discipline.
The sergeant will fire his shotgun, and then the heavy bolter will throw a crack grenade instead, because he'll be hitting on 5s otherwise.
Yeah.
So we've got 2 shots from the shotgun, hitting on 4s, re-rolling 1s.
Yep.
That's 1 hit. Wounds on a 4, because it's strength 5 at this range. It wounded.
3+ armour. No.
Oh, this is important.
Disgustingly resilient. Oh, I made it.
And the crack grenade hits on a 4, re-rolling 1s, it hit. Wounds on a 3, and it didn't.
So that's it for Space Marine turn 4, and we're on to Death Guard turn 4. So the 3 models over here have moved in like that. Then the other Poxwalkers over there, well, the advance doesn't matter very much. 4 inches, so that will be enough. 8 inches is enough to get them sitting on the objective like that. But it pretty much ensures that the scouts aren't going to get there, even if they somehow manage to kill all these guys in Overwatch. The champion will let's chuck a blight grenade at them. So that's going to be D6 shots. 5, hitting on 3s, rerolling 1s. No, not rerolling those 2 1s because I didn't think about the ammo box, so that's only 1 hit. Wounding on a 5, no. And then in charge phase, would do the champion first because he might be able to take all these shots.
So Overwatch with the shotgun and the heavy bolter.
Okay.
So the shotgun, 2 shots hitting on a 6, not re-rolling 1s. And the heavy bolter, 2 hits. He's finally got his iron. Wounds on 4s, 1 wound.
4+ armour. Yes, made it. Champion will be in, and then the Poxwalkers will join him like that. So the champion will hit the Power Fist again. He got 1 hit. It wounds on 2. Yeah, that's a dead scout. And then we've got 4 attacks from Poxwalkers, which we'll just do quickly. They've all missed.
I guess the heavy bolter will die.
Actually, yes, sorry, the champion would have been able to consolidate because it wasn't him who killed him. Well,
I'm just going to concede because...
Well, yeah, the sergeant can't do anything from this point. He's got 1 turn left, but he can't fall back and get away. So even if he doesn't have enough attacks to kill all these models.
I'll try and kill your champion just for the sake of it.
Okay.
Yeah, 2 hits, wounding on 5s, 2 wounds.
3+ armour. Failed both.
Now he's going to die, isn't he?
Yeah. So of course he now dies.
Moral victory.
Moral victory. Killed the champion. So that will be a Death Guard victory because the scouts, really didn't roll that well in the end, unfortunately.
They're all below average.
Yeah. So we will recap all that for you now. So that was the mission from issue 45 of Warhammer 40,000 Conquest. A bit different, but how do you think that went?
I think I hate disgustingly resilient. I do like the scenario,
quite an interesting scenario. Imagine it'd be fun to play with the kill team rules, or just to play this again, but have the scouts be individuals or something like that. It's a pretty quick scenario, so it probably is fun to try it out with the different loadouts and stuff.
It seems like quite a tricky scenario for the Space Marines. It kind of seems interesting.
I'd say the difficulty is probably more for Space Marines is just the time limit. I mean, you could probably increase the time limit to 6 turns, because with 5 turns, it really is quite tight to take 3 objectives. Especially, I mean, basically, if you get bogged down in melee, it's kind of it. I took the heavy bolter just to kill the champion, and the champion lived, and that was kind of it. It's sort of the deciding factor, really, in this game.
The problem with giving a heavy bolter to a scout like this is that in this mission you don't want to move around. Well, actually, not that really mattered anyway, because you roll all 1s and 2s to hit with your heavy bolter initially. So
he rolled below. I think he only got 3 out of 9 hits, something like that. I mean, it probably would have gone differently if I rolled better. It makes sense to deploy the champion in the middle of the board, because otherwise the scouts can just turn up next to him and blow him away.
Blow him away, yeah.
Or just go on the opposite side.
Yeah, exactly. You just stay away from him. The replayability value of this mission is entirely in different loadouts and positions for the scouts. The death card, there's no real reason to do anything other than what I did.
The reason I took shotguns is so you can advance and shoot.
Yeah, because there might be people thinking, on earth is he taking shotguns? But actually, in this mission, it kind of makes sense, because your firepower within 12 inches is exactly the same. Your firepower within 6 inches is better. You can advance and shoot. And the only things that are likely to be really far away are poxwalkers. So
and you had basically no shooting.
Yeah.
The thing, I have to move around a lot, so shotguns make more sense for that. Yeah. Otherwise, I'd probably take bolt guns, especially if I had the heavy bolter. I'd probably deploy the scouts in cover. I mean, they can all fit on top of a thermic plasma regulator. So I could just deploy them on top of there, so they're in cover.
Yeah.
And then you've got the extra range from the bolt guns, helps out. And of course, they in the new Codex, they would have bolter drill as well, so they'd be shooting at twice up to max range.
Yes,
that would actually make them better. Yeah. There is another version of scouts, another kit that comes with sniper rifles. That's probably the kit I would actually take in an actual game. And you can also give the sniper squad, also comes with a missile launcher as well, and we sorely need anti-tank weapons. I guess we might as well just talk about scouts in general.
Yeah, Poxwalkers almost make them look good, but actually as a unit, they're not really.
Yeah. They have a 4+ armor save, which isn't great. They only have 1 wound. Space Marines already die like flies against Death Guard.
Yeah, and as we saw, I mean, the Poxwalkers still struggle to hurt them, but as soon as that Power Fist gets in, you can just squish them. Yeah. And if they were intercessors or something, at least you'd have the extra wound.
Yeah, the extra wound might save a couple. And Scouts only have 1 attack as well. Concealed Positions is really handy for disrupting deep strikers.
Yes, it is.
That is one good benefit of it. And you can also deploy them on objectives to take them early on. I suppose Scouts fulfill a role. I guess one of the reasons why they gave us the Scouts at all in the magazine is they fulfill a role that none of the Primaris units do, which is concealed positions and also snipers later on.
Both of which you can get now as part of the Vanguard ranges that have come out in the last couple of months, but those are point-wise, they're like twice as expensive as Scouts, if not worse.
The Sniper Scouts also come with Camellia Line cloaks, which gives them an extra +1 to their armor save in cover.
Yeah, so if you sit them in cover, they can end up with a 2+ armor save, and they might not be your highest target priority.
Yeah, so. I guess that is one of the things about Scouts, is it's a unit that you can put somewhere and try to force your opponent to deal with, because they're not really that threatening, and if you lose them, it's better than losing something else.
Well, there are a couple of stratagems we'll get later. There's the Hellfire Shells.
Yes, that does come up. We'll learn about stratagems soon, but the only model the Hellfire Shell stratagem will apply to is the Scout with a heavy bolter. Yeah. So it's one good reason to take him. If you didn't build your Scouts with heavy bolter, sorry.
Yep. And likewise as the missile launcher, actually there's, I think it's flak missiles for shooting at an air unit. I'm assuming we're going to eventually get with the magazine talking about detachments and command points and all that battle-forged armies and all that kind of stuff. When that happens, they will provide you with a very cheap troops choice to fill out detachments if necessary as well. Because at the moment, actually for troops choices, we've got intercessors and that's it. Scouts
are actually cheaper points-wise than any other Space Marine troops choice. I do like Scouts as a kit, and I do like the way the models look, even though they look really old now.
Yeah, I mean, actually, I don't know if it's obvious from your picture, but compared to the Plague Marine
Champion,
are
tiny.
They're really tiny, even though they're supposed to be kind of the same body dimensions.
I mean, I think they're actually smaller than the Poxwalkers as well. And the Poxwalkers are meant to be ordinary humans.
Yeah, it's a pretty old. It's at least 10 years old. I can't think exactly when this kit came out, but it's quite old, and it shows. Just things like, as well, the fact that you only get 4 shotguns and bolt guns.
Because back in the day, the sergeant would have the chainsaw and the bolt pistol.
Yeah, that was your only option for him, or at least you could change his weapons, but it didn't come in the kit, so that was assumed you'd give him the melee weapon.
I mean, I guess if you're like me and you're stingy git, you magnetise everything, so you get the most money out of the kit. Although, actually, since Scouts are an old Space Marine unit, they have the sort of old Space Marine philosophy of lots of weapon choices.
Yes.
Whereas the Primaris Marines have no options. They do one thing, but they generally do it quite well.
Yeah.
Whereas older Space Marine units tend to be more versatile. It will change how you use them on the battlefield.
Yeah.
Whereas with Primaris Marines, you're probably going to use them basically the same way every time. But going ahead, if you want a unit that you can just plonk on the battlefield to hold an objective, then the new infiltrators are definitely much better at it than the scouts because they're much tougher. If you wanted to use concealed positions for that role.
Yeah. Anyway, that's going to be it for this episode. If you enjoyed it, then please give it a like and subscribe. Let us know your thoughts, especially about units like Scouts, which are, sort of an old unit if you've been playing the games. If you've played this, let us know what happened. We've been the Tabletop Donkeys, and we'll see you next time.
Yep, bye for now.